What's up, everyone? My name's Hugo Schneider, and I'm today's Man of the Hour. Guess they're making anyone a Man of the Hour nowadays.
Have you been called that before?
No, never. I think this is probably the first time I've been called a Man of the Hour.
Kurt, well, here you go. And we got a whole hour to talk about why we've considered you a Man of the Hour for a long time, buddy. But I got to start by saying thank you. Thanks for being here and thanks for saying yes, because for a long time I've been watching you, been watching your videos, and I'm talking the ones, not only the collaborative videos you've done on YouTube, that's kind of where your entire portfolio is, but who you are
Totally.
is you're a collaborator at heart. So I've been watching your videos with Allison and Kiki Palmer and Max Schneider, who I thought was your brother for many years.
All
And then
good.
finally you hit it out just almost like a couple years ago now, 2018, so about 3, with the We Are the World, which we'll get into as well, which was like a huge hit that you guys did with Channel 8. And dude, I cannot thank you enough for being here and spending the next hour with me, buddy.
Oh man, thanks for having me on. I love all those people you mentioned and so many more. I don't know. I just feel really lucky that I've been able to work with so many talented people. So yeah, thanks for
Man,
having me.
yeah, dude. And you're a creator at heart. So I wanted to start there. I mean, we can take it back to high school. And when I remember reading that you had played chess for a little while and you picked up chess after, you've always been musically inclined. But for you, you're in your studio. Thanks for inviting us into your home. We didn't have a choice
Totally.
here, right? We're doing Zoom calls now.
Welcome. Make yourself at home.
Where's the cup of coffee, Kurt? No, I'm kidding. But
Yeah,
so
I've always been a tea person. So.
you've always you've always worked out of your home for the most part, at least for the last, you said, 5 years or so, and you're always editing and producing content, probably collaborating with people virtually anyway. But so has the last year for you since the pandemic looked any different than what you were already used to? And if so, how did that all play out for the year in terms of your work?
Yeah, for me, I feel just very lucky that I'm able to do my job
Yeah.
still. I know we have a lot of friends that have been less fortunate. Obviously, a lot of people have had to change things up. I'm just lucky that I work from home.
Mhm.
So, so much of what I do is me sitting by myself, literally right here in front of this computer with this keyboard. And not much has changed there. I think actually, in some ways, staying at home has allowed me to be creative in different ways. Like, for example, during the pandemic, I started TikTok, which
Mm.
I'd never really been like playing around with before. But on there, I was just messing around with making music with random household objects and
I
appliances.
remember that, especially the washer and dryer situation.
Exactly. And like that washer and dryer stuff really like picked up. And
Yeah.
honestly, if we weren't just stuck at home all the time, like I don't know, maybe it wouldn't have happened or whatever. But
Mm.
just try to make lemonade out of lemons. So
Oh, I love that. And you add a little sugar in there too. Or maybe
yeah.
some people still drink Splenda. I think that shit kills you. But we could talk about that offline, dude. There is something about creativity in right now. We were forced to be creative. We were forced to, and we'll get to this a little later, connect with people in very different ways. I'd always thought, and I'm looking back the past year. I mean, we're sitting in the middle of what was the beginning of last year, and it's been a clear year of just doing everything virtually. But for you, were you doing everything through Zoom? Because I mean, the first question I would always ask musicians and content creators is like, how are you able to collaborate? That's what you're known for, was getting in studios with people and having to figure out, like, I guess everything used to be in person for you guys, and you would shoot music videos with these guys and gals all over Hollywood and Los Angeles, and all of that was in person. Was that put on pause, and then you guys could figure it out a little later?
Well, a lot of projects we've just been doing more remotely. I
Yeah.
did a whole project last year with Indonesian artists and
Yep.
creators. So I did 3 videos with 3 Indonesian artists, and each video, I'm doing my bit here in America, and they're
Yep.
doing their bit in Indonesia.
Wow.
And then I'm editing the video together and taking their vocals. I send them a track, they send
Yeah.
over vocals, I'm throwing together a mix. And obviously I would have loved to be able to travel and be there in person, but
Mm.
I'm really proud of how those videos turned out. And yeah, I guess a lot more remote videos and remote audio. And I think actually what sort of the last year has showed us is that
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that you really can do without physically being right next to someone.
Yeah.
So,
Where do you
I mean,
think that where do you think that
yeah,
will go for the music industry though? In terms of everybody now being able to be remote, like you, for example, it's like you're lucky to be able to do everything out of your home already, but have you not felt the want and need to go and collaborate in person? Or I'm sure you have.
yeah, totally. I mean, it feels different. And I don't know what will, like, in 2, 3 years, will everything be back to the way it was, or will it be somewhere in between, or will it be, like, I don't know. I'm just trying to make good things that hopefully someone out there, in the world likes
We've
and puts a smile on someone's face. So,
We've seen it, dude. It's
yeah.
put a smile on our faces for years. That's why, again, I wanted to coin you a man of the hour. I was like, gosh, I've been watching you for a long time. I even remember when we first launched last year, I'd asked myself if we were going to dip into the music bucket, and we did, right? David Archuleta was on the show, I mean, there's a kind of a synergy there with American Idol and having the feature that you had on American Idol back in the day. But you know, I was like, gosh, if we can bring Kurt on, right? And at some point, these conversations are hard to do amongst people. But if it were you and say Sam Tsui or whoever you had collaborated with to get in your mind, which we will now. Okay. But speaking of your mind, you are smart. And I don't care what you say about yourself. I'm going to call you smart because I was researching you, my friend, and you not only majored in math at Yale, but then you picked up chess. Was it high school or college that you'd picked up chess? I want to make sure I get that right.
I mean, I started playing earlier, but I kind of stopped playing too competitively when I was maybe
Yeah.
like 15, 16. But yeah, I don't know. I just try to do things
You do. Because I
you
was like,
know,
it's one thing to be a music producer and to have your hands in like the editing bay is I guess what you would call it. I call it an editing bay, like your timeline of premiere and audition and stuff. But then you were a chess master at one point. You had majored in math. How does your mind work? I gotta ask you because when you're thinking all things creative, no one goes to chess and math. People think numbers and strategy with those two things. But how have you kind of been able to? I guess now over the years, now that you're so not so active with chess or maybe not math. I don't know if you do math when you're editing music, but are you able to weave chess and math and all the experiences you had there into like all of this music life that you have now?
you know, maybe somewhere there's some connection
Yeah.
going on somewhere in the crazy head. But math is a lot more creative than people give it credit for. A
Mm,
lot of math is really at its core about abstract thinking and about finding ways of solving problems.
yeah.
And I mean, math is really not, when people think of math, they think of, in high school and doing like just problem after problem of
Yeah.
like drilling, some
100%.
formula or some theorem or whatever. That's really not math. So I think actually math and music and chess and
Mm,
these things are a bit more related, just in that they there's some there's some part of like abstract thinking that kind
that's
of
cool.
goes into all of it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just always love having like random hobbies. I still have my random hobbies. So, you
I
know.
want to get into some of those a little later. Maybe I'll save it for questions of the hour. Kurt, you when getting out of Yale though, and having a math degree, did you think you would end up where you are now?
No, but at the same time, I I did always think that YouTube could somehow lead to an actual business or job or something. I mean,
Yeah,
I always kind of felt that if there's an audience somewhere, then
100%.
there's a future, there's a business, there's something, so.
Yeah.
And it really doesn't matter, if the audience is on YouTube or Instagram or Twitch or
Mhm.
whatever it is, if you have enough people who are, really care about the content and the videos or whatever it is that you create, then you can do something with that.
Mm.
So, at the time that I graduated, there wasn't, no, we weren't making money on YouTube. There wasn't really ad revenue. And even if there was, a lot of our videos, we weren't collecting anything on because, some of it's originals and some of it are mashups, but a lot of it is covers of other songs.
Sure.
Um, so, I think once we started kind of selling some songs on iTunes, and money from iTunes every month was enough to pay for like some ramen from
Yeah.
those cup of noodles. Man, I had so many
I
of
was
those
gonna
back.
ask you, was it the cup or the bag?
So it's either the cup of noodles or the ones where when they come in like the
The
square and you
square
break them
bags.
up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. I'm a big fan. So and yeah, and at the time after college, I was sleeping on a couch for a year after college. So
Yeah,
so I didn't have too many huge expenses at the time. So
sure.
I was just trying to make YouTube work and just
I
trying to
get
make
it.
videos happen.
Well, and that's perfect that you bring it up. I was going to quote you. I'll quote you here in a sec about what you had mentioned about kind of getting really good at something. I have a feeling you'll talk about it anyway when I ask you this question. But what was going through your head when you were couch surfing for a year, or staying on a couch for a year after having graduated from Yale with a math degree, to then try and make something work that you were might have been uncertain about if you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, at the time, I figured, I mean, when I graduated, there were at least enough people following me on YouTube where I figured it would be a shame not to give this a real shot. So, I figured I give it, a year. I'm not even sure I gave myself an exact deadline, but
Yeah,
I'd give it some time, a year, and really try to make it happen.
sure.
And if it didn't work out, then maybe go get a real job. But still here and
And it
still have
worked
the
out.
same the same YouTube job.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely very very fortunate that things worked out.
I love that you say that. I'm always such a proud believer in the notion that like things will work out as long as you put in the work, and you just kind of like you have to somewhat believe in the power of destiny and serendipity, right? Those two words are key, but at the same time you have to know that you are going after something that hasn't yet been done or yet been created. And that's what's tricky, I think, in the content creating space or in the brand creating space, when people are, I guess you, like all of us, I guess you would consider everybody an entrepreneur, for the most part, but there's a lot of
Yeah,
uncertainty that comes with it. We just did a founders week special, and I kept talking to, there was a total of 6 entrepreneurs, and everybody had said like the journey is different for everybody, that right, the path of an entrepreneur is always going to be different, but everybody goes through the same types of struggles. um, and I'd say the same for the YouTube community, right? Creating content and then trying to gain traction and keeping that same community of people like me who tuned in to subscribe and watch those videos that you're putting out. Because think about it, how many, give us an idea for a minute, Kurt, how many hours would you say went into one music video? Let's take the Sam Tsui. He was wearing a red jacket. You guys mashed up something. 2018 mashup. Am I right?
oh yeah, oh man,
So
those mashups are,
the mashups were insane. And dude, like not even just choreography, lyrics, and all the lip dubbing or whatever happened. How many hours would you say approximately went into one music video like that?
oh, I mean, it really depends on the video, but for a video like that, I mean, there's kind of, for a mashup, there's sort of like the arrangement of it.
Mm,
Then there's kind of like the production of the track, recording, vocals, anything to finalize the audio, then video, filming it,
yeah.
whatever you need to prep all that stuff, and then any post production on the video. So, you know, for for something that's a very simple video, uh, we've done it enough that we really can pump something out like
Mm,
quickly if just get like focused and in that zone. But for something like that where it's really involved like that, cool, I don't know, it's pretty time consuming. I mean,
I would
takes a lot
say.
of effort. Each one of those steps that I kind of named is it's probably an afternoon in and of itself. So
And after, if you had to give it an hour time stamp,
cool, it's really tough. If I was being really efficient, I'd
100
say,
hours. No.
you know man, arranging maybe like 3 hours, producing stuff like another 3 or 4, like recording vocals. You're probably talking like at least 10 hours
Yep.
minimum for audio, like, and then video. For one that's really involved like that, where it involves actually a lot of prep,
Sure.
it's probably even longer than that, or kind of like planning out like what the camera path is going to be, and then like day of, like getting everything to
Shoot
be
day
just
and all.
right for those like one takes. The
Man.
good news about a one take, I always say, is you're always one shot away from being done. So
So don't mess up people on camera.
yep, yep.
Oh,
Of
that's
course,
funny.
the bad side of that is, until you have the shot, you have nothing. So
Right. Oh man. Well, listen, you don't even have to put an hour, a total hour on that one. That's a lot. And the reason I ask is because you've become so good at it. You mentioned the word efficient. And if you think about how many times you've had to arrange and produce and pre-post film and gather the people and orchestrate things, you're like an orchestra leader, like that one.
I'll
And
take it. I'll
you'll
take
take it. You'll
it.
take the man of the hour and the orchestra leader, Kurt. Because if
Yeah,
you
I'll
think
take
about it, like
it.
you with your team, of course, right?
Yeah.
From Noodle House Studios. So now it makes sense why it's called Noodle House Studios. But wait, okay, before we continue about you being an orchestra leader, Noodle House Studios, when you did find that, and this was only a couple of years that you guys built the actual production company, but where'd the name come from? Was it
Yeah.
the
So
cup of noodles?
actually, back when I was at Yale, I had a college job. I was working at the Digital Media Center over there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And also, it was very fortunate because they had a recording room. So I had access to, use their mics and like their recording equipment, because I didn't know any of that stuff back then. So it was great. But I would just spend like hours and hours there. I was working a job, and then also I was just staying there to work on my stuff in the
Yeah.
recording room all the time. But right across the street was a restaurant, and I think it was technically called York Street Noodle House, but they just had a big sign out front that just said Noodle House, and that was just it. And I love this place. Like, genuinely, no shame. This was my favorite spot to go to
Mm.
in New Haven, Connecticut. And my friends would all like hate on the place because it was kind of like it it wouldn't be where you would like take your parents to some nice dining place. You want to show them a very nice
Yeah.
but it was my favorite spot. I just love this place, and I ate there all the time, and I would
Yeah.
I would pick stuff and bring it right back to the DMCA. So yeah, so I don't know,
And it
Noodle House,
makes sense.
it's part of
And
my life.
it all makes sense, man. Wait, I'm gonna have to send you a package, like a care package of like noodles, ramen noodles, different types of. So I'm half Japanese. Noodles is part of my culture, brother. But okay, we'll figure out some
Awesome,
type of noodle situation
love
for
it.
you, Mr. Orchestra Leader. Though, so I remember, and I'll quote you here for a second. And you once said, "It doesn't matter if it's chess or ballet or sports. If you want to be the best at something, you have to
Mhm.
do it to the exclusion of everything else." I want to ask you what that meant when you said it, because I tried to break it down. I was like, well, listen, if I can't break it down, Kurt can break it down. What did you mean by that? And especially, like, how do you feel like you practiced or practice that now?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, any one discipline, like if we just take, like, I mean, you can take anything. If sports is your life, like, think about
Mm,
sports. If you do happen to play chess, you can think about chess, or anything else. There's so many talented people in the world at any one thing. You just pick anything. There's just thousands and thousands of people who have just incredible talent. And then out of
mm,
that pool of really talented people, there's really talented people who are also working really hard at it as well. And you have, however big of a group of those people. So that's who you're competing against. You're competing against other people who are like really talented, really gifted in whatever this field is, and they're also working hard. So if you want to be able to compete in that group, you you gotta work. You gotta
mm,
put in the effort. So
mhm.
yeah, I guess if I want to be good at something, or if anyone wants to be good at something, you have to
Yeah.
be willing to be on the same level with all those other
Mm,
people in the world who are just at a really really high level. So yeah, I guess that's what I meant. Probably if you really want to be the absolute best at something, which I don't think I am at anything, but if you do want
yeah.
to be the best, you have to do it to the exclusion of everyone else, because you're competing against that whole group of people who are really talented, and then of
Hmm.
those really talented people, you have talented people who are working hard. So if you want to be, a little step ahead of that group, yeah, you got to do it to the exclusion of pretty much all other activities.
Wow. And that's speaking towards, like, to your example, sports, to the exclusion of sports, focus on it, get really good at it, and start competing with the best of the best. Now, competition, though, I consider you one of the best of the best with what you do. You don't have to tell me that, or you don't have to tell me that. You'll
I'll
take
take
it.
whatever, but I've had the fortune of being around so many talented, gifted
That's what
people that
yeah,
I just think I'm lucky to be where I am. But
100%. Luck has a lot to do with it, but to your point earlier, effort has a lot to do with it too. When you are surrounding yourself with so many good, talented people, be it a
mhm,
producer or the people that you're making music with that just sing and dance, or
mhm.
someone who just edits videos, and you probably do the whole gamut. But have you found that when you're around those types of people only,
Mhm.
that you're then accelerating at a whole nother level to get to where you want to be? The reason I ask that is because I think a lot of people who are in this world of content creating, entertainment, I mean, I don't know what you call it, like entertainment.
Yeah.
It's people are getting lost. I'm hearing left and right from my friends who are acting, singing, writing music, writing short films, trying to do comedy. People are getting lost in all the noise. So how do you
Mhm.
navigate through any form of noise while also being sure that you collaborate with the right people and keep yourself around people who probably could be competition, but also good to collaborate with?
Yeah, I mean, fortunately, collaboration is not a zero-sum game, you know.
Mhm.
Just uh, working with someone else and helping someone else out often helps you out, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I've been very fortunate that, I've just worked with so many talented, especially singers, because I mostly what I do is production, play a bunch of random instruments, and so naturally I'll work with a lot of singers. I've been fortunate to work with some really, really good singers.
Yeah.
And hopefully I've helped them out a little bit. They've definitely helped me out. And
Mhm.
together, the product is better than what it would be if, only one party was working on it. I think
Yeah.
to your first point, or when you were talking about, surrounding yourself with people, and I've always found that if I surround myself with talented people, it pushes me to be better. I think it's easy to kind of be complacent, or like
Mhm.
accept that, like I'm good enough or something like that.
Sure.
But I think being around really, really talented people, really driven people. In college, I was surrounded by so many great musicians. Not just great singers, like just great musicians. Felt like every other
Mhm.
person, was a better piano player than me and all that.
Mhm.
I'm not kidding. And I think it pushed me to be better, to try to do things differently, to try to this person over there is doing something really cool and creative. Oh,
Mm.
now I want to try to do something, really cool. Oh, and
Sure.
that's going to motivate me to do this. So, you know, yeah, I don't know exactly where I was going with that, but
Eh,
hopefully that was
I
somewhat an answer
can't
to the
you got all the
question.
answers to listen, you answered all the questions, but if we were playing a game, you'd win. That I've heard that from so many people. It's like we get so deep into thought. I think it happens all the time. That's why podcasting exists, my friend. Think about it. If we were on a short segment on a TV screen for like 5.5 minutes and you had to answer each question within 30 seconds, it would be too much. But no, you're exactly right. It's like when you meet with those types of people that are only helping to like elevate you in good ways. I always thought, especially in the world of media, let's say media, for example, there's competition that I don't see all the time.
Mhm.
People are like, well, are you competing with other hosts of podcasts? Are you competing with other people who are creating content on social? And I go, there's not competition, right? And back when, that's someone who has a high nose would say, oh, I don't compete. I'm not. No, but realistically, it's like I've collaborated with half the people that I thought would be considered competitors, or other hosts of podcasts, and I will end up working on certain things and helping each other in different ways. And it's the same way for your community, and it only helps. But yeah, because and you've proven that when you collaborate on a huge project with all these YouTubers that essentially, I'm assuming all the people that sang in the We Are the World campaign video, like, think about their channels being
Yeah,
all very much like in the millions, and not, but when you collaborate like that, it's such a beautiful thing to see.
totally. It's awesome.
No.
I mean, I think it's human nature in some way to just compare ourselves to others, you
Mm-hmm.
know, like for better and for worse.
Sure.
And, you know, as long as it's just not in a negative way and whatever. I mean, I think, you know, if being around talented people makes you say, hey, like, I, these people are all really, really talented and really driven and put
Mm.
in effort, like that makes me want to put in effort, you know? So if it's like that, like that's great. Um, you know, but at the end of the day, I try to like the person who I'm really competing with is like
Mm.
me from a year ago or me from a month ago or me from,
I
you know,
love
whatever.
that.
Like that's the person who I want to be better than. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that's great. Kurt, I want to ask you about the business of YouTube, if I may, for a minute, because
Yeah, yeah, go for it.
to your sleeping on the couch days that I didn't even know about. I could only imagine what the years of continuing to build a YouTube channel has looked like in terms of ad revenue and getting to a consistent place of being able to monetize and live off of the platform. People are doing it with
Mhm.
Instagram, and it's easier to see on Instagram because it says paid by, right? But what are the kind of not only the best practices, but when people are trying to make money and start a career on YouTube only, similar to
Mhm.
you, not that you don't have other platforms, but you know, YouTube being the main focus,
Totally.
what would you say was the starting point and then those building blocks to being able to get as comfortable as you are with YouTube now?
Yeah, I mean, certainly the most important thing is just, you know, trying to get an audience of people that watch your stuff. I mean, you said on Instagram you can see like paid by and whatever. And, you know, if myself or other creators have an opportunity to work with a brand or to make something really cool,
Yeah.
like that, like obviously that's great, you know. And I've been lucky that I've had a few opportunities to do things, you know. Probably the biggest one was with Coca-Cola, and then
Yep.
I did a bunch of videos with HP, and it's always great, you know, when you have an opportunity to make something that I genuinely think is a really cool piece of content.
Yeah.
And you also happen to be able to work with a really cool brand. Like it's kind of like a milestone, you know,
Mm,
a, a kind of a check mark of like how far you've come in a way. And
for
that
sure.
and that's great. But you know, the backbone of it all is just having an audience that cares about your stuff, you know, cares about your content. So I mean, for me, I also always try to just make stuff that's, you know, everything's family friendly. I just try to make people smile. Like we just try to put out some positive music, you know, and some fun things. So
Yeah.
hopefully, you know, that's that's something that brands want to work with. But for me, I just
Mm.
ultimately I'm just making stuff I like. So
Yeah, it's where the missions align. They say the stars align, but if your mission of your content and your channel, your productions, your Noodle House Studios is in line with a Coca-Cola, an HP, a whomever, a Channel Aid, you know, then it makes a lot of sense. And I think people are weary who are in the YouTube space, not just to partner with brands. Let's use YouTube and Instagram for example, parallel here. When people think to partner with brands or people are starting to throw dollars at them and say, hey, I want you to like promote XYZ of my product, or we'd love to work with you on this special video and pay you to do it. When people start putting money on something, I think oftentimes it's not a scare tactic for creators, but it's
Mhm.
almost like it will then feel forced in some way because you're putting money on it and it's an advertisement. You know, I've
Yeah.
always told people of this show, we want it to feel as organic as possible. Anytime people are paying us, it's like, well, because our missions are aligned in terms of what we do, why we do it, and that brand. And I'm sure similar for you.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think for me, I always try to make something that I think is genuinely creative, even
Mm,
and just fun, and something I would want to make, even if it weren't a piece of branded content. I mean, just to go back to Coca Cola to throw out an example, I did this video. I had this song called "Pass It On,"
mm,
and uh, I just sent it along to someone I knew at Coca Cola because I just thought it would be a good fit. And I had an idea for a video that I kind of wanted to do anyway.
right.
Um, and I mean, I think if you hopefully if you search "Pass It On" or "Pass It On Kurt" on YouTube,
Mhm.
you'll be able to see it. But you know, it's me and five other friends. We're sitting around a round table, and there's this percussive thing going, and the whole percussion is made with like Coke bottles as we're singing the
Yeah, yeah,
song. And uh, it's like there's Coca-Cola in every single frame of the video.
sure.
It's uh, the percussion couldn't really be made the way I wanted it to without kind of those glass bottles of Coca-Cola. And yet at the same time, even though there's Coca-Cola literally in 100% of the video, I don't think
Yeah,
it feels sellouty at all because
not at
it's
all.
exactly the kind of video that I would make otherwise. So it just happened to be like
That's
a perfect
cool.
partnership of just, it worked. So
There was a candy bar that's coming to mind right now with was it Allison and not Max? Was
oh
it Allison and
yeah.
Sam? Max. Max
Yeah,
and
I
Allison.
think it was Allison and Max with Snickers, right?
Snickers. How cool was that?
Yeah.
It was the Backstreet Boys. Dude, I promise I'm drawing this from memory.
Yeah,
Backstreet Boys, I Want It That Way.
that's exactly what it was. That's exactly
Hurt.
what it was.
Because that stuff's cool. And like, I promise, and I could say this as a fan of your content, that those moments stick in your brain for
Oh
a
man,
long
I'm
time.
so glad. I'm so
Because
glad
the
that means a lot.
music, dude, I'm serious. The music is one thing, right? The rendition of, or the, I guess, remix of certain cover. There's the word, cover of
Yeah.
all these songs. Or you guys remix and do mashups, or you have originals. Nonetheless, the music you put out, it's good. People don't have to see anything to really like notice that it's good music. When you add those Snickers and Coca-Colas and the dancing and the backflips in these movies and stuff, dude, I think it's insane. But that's why you can make money on YouTube. Again, to my point about making money on YouTube, it's like you find your, maybe not your niche, but you find what you're good at. But in doing that, I feel
Totally.
like you've had to do, and back to our point about collaborations, and you, for your career at least, it's been such a natural benefit, and it may not be for some YouTubers, but when you're working with like a Kiki Palmer, you had Jason Derulo in the video, you've worked with really, really, really
That was
crazy
crazy. Yeah.
cool people. That was also Max, right?
Yep.
But when you're picking a song to then produce a video with and find the right talent, are those things orchestrated naturally where you just happen to have talked to Max about an idea like, hey, let's make this? Or do you really kind of think about the video as maybe a big project and a big milestone for you, and then have to find the right people to put in place for it?
Oh man, well, I'm lucky that there's just so many incredible people that I've just been fortunate to run into at one point or
Yeah.
another.
Yeah.
So, I think for most of those projects, I probably just shot someone a text or hit
Yeah.
someone up saying like,
That's cool.
"Hey, I got this video I want to do. Like, I think you'd be amazing. I'd love to do it with you.
Yeah.
No pressure, but and if someone says nah, I'm busy or not this
Sure.
time, that's all good. But if someone
Yeah.
says, yeah, let's go do it, then that's usually what happens. I just see someone text saying, hey, let's do this, and then they say, cool. When? So yeah.
That's cool. Power of like connectivity, man. You can text or DM people nowadays and you can collaborate, because I think people want that. And it brings up my next point, which is essentially how lonely people are feeling right now, in terms of this pandemic we went through. We're still struggling to see people in person because of certain restrictions, or even like I will come out to Los Angeles and there's so many people that I would love to see that I know are with their families and what have you. And listen, the virus exists, the vaccine's coming out, like we're well on our way to seeing the end of this thing. But um, I wanted to ask you about connecting with people, and when you felt like it was right to connect with people, and how do you feel whenever you were going through this pandemic and wanting to reach out to someone or have someone reach out to you? I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, totally. I mean, fortunately, I live with my fiance, who's just the most incredible person in the
We
world.
love
Um,
Patty.
so yeah, Patty is just incredible, and I really feel for some friends who don't live with someone, because as much as like we connect digitally and I'm working with people remotely, I
Yeah.
think having a human connection is something that's really mentally healthy. So
Mm,
I feel lucky that I have that, and hopefully, um, hopefully as vaccines get come out and more
sure.
people get vaccinated, hopefully world starts to heal. And but in the meantime, I try to connect as much as I can just through music and
Mm,
working with people, even if it's remotely. I
sure.
just
What about your
And
friends and loved ones? How would you say you connect with like your friends and loved ones? Are you a texter? Are you a FaceTime? I FaceTime. That's it. FaceTimer. I will FaceTime like clients, friends, partners, whoever, brother, mom, dad. FaceTime's where it's at. So do you text? Do you FaceTime? Do you like to like maybe set up Zoom calls for a bigger party, or do you phone call?
I'm mostly phone call. We've done some Zoom calls with like my family. Like around
Yes.
dinner, it'll be like my parents and my sister and her husband, and all of us will be like on a big Zoom call while we're all eating dinner.
Yeah.
We're all of us live in different states, so we're all far apart, but all eating dinner together. But usually I'll call. So I've been trying to see the sun a little more. So I've been just trying to
Listen, you have no
walk.
excuse. You're in California.
Yeah, I know.
So
So, but in spite of that, actually, most of the time I'm sitting right here. So,
yeah.
I'll try to take like a 30-minute break and just walk around the neighborhood. Just walk around for 30 minutes, and while I'm doing that, try to call some people. Connect
I
up,
love that.
talk to some people, talk to the fam, the parents. So.
Good for you. Do you do handwritten cards? I want to show you something that I'll end up sending you. One of my good friends has a company called Curio Press, but do you do handwritten cards?
Oh man, I don't, but that sounds.
You
I
ready?
should. I
I'm going to
don't,
show you
but
something. So and this is the color of our, you see that blue right there on our podcast. So this is like the
yeah.
color. It's a customizable card. Look at this. Hold on. So I got sent this for Christmas and I swear by it now. So I got sent one
Nice.
last Christmas and it said, just Justin Crawford, be happy, celebrate others. And I remember I called the founder and I said, hey, I want you to get involved with our show. I want you to get involved with the people that we're trying to connect with or whatever. I didn't care what it made sense for. And anyway, so they're personalized cards, but we're going to send you some. And I hope that it inspires you to write uh, to whoever, your friends, your family, or whomever it might be. But Curio Press, and anybody listening, it's curio-press.com. And you guys can go find, again, personalized notes. But I feel like that's something we don't do enough of. I advocate to my friends all the time. They're always seeing me, like I send it to friends and everybody's like, oh, well, thanks for the handwritten card, or they'll post it on their Instagram. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah,
wanted
well,
to ask you if you
I
did
definitely don't do
handwritten.
enough of that. So
We're
I'm
going to send you some.
guilty as charged over here. So.
No, I love it, dude. Well, so, and in terms of how much time and effort you have put into everything that you've been doing, Kurt, and I'm sure you've been hearing so much good feedback over the years, but how do you usually respond to people who, I don't know how to explain it, but like, how do you respond to people who are giving you all the great things, like I love this, and you did such a great job with this video, or this made me cry, this inspired me? How do you take that feedback usually? I'm curious.
Um, I mean, it's great. I love it when people, have an emotional reaction to anything that I
Yeah.
do. Obviously, it's as an artist or as a creator, that's like, um, that's kind of the dream. It's
Mm,
so I just feel very fortunate that honestly, I feel very fortunate that there's just anyone out there that cares at all about what I do.
yeah.
I mean, like just when I started making stuff, it was like you put something up, and I know my mom's gonna see it, and that's about all I know. So,
What
you
is
know,
what is
um,
what's her reaction as of recent? And I'll give you my mom's in terms of like when
oh
moms tune in.
my mom's incredible. She's the most supportive. She's always been my biggest fan. She's
I love that.
yeah, she's great, and my dad too. I don't want to don't want to say that my dad isn't.
No, same,
But
right? Mom and dad, right?
yeah, I just feel really fortunate. I've always had really supportive parents.
No, I think that's the most important thing. They always say like your parents will be your biggest supporters, but also let you know if something doesn't look right, sound right, or if they feel like you're kind of going the wrong direction or whatever. So it kind of keeps you in line, or they keep you in line rather. More about the industry as a whole, if you think about content and music, and back to this idea about noise and how there's just a lot of people pursuing this. And you said it, and I'm really glad you did. So many people are doing it. So many people are good at it. So many
Hmm.
people are up there already. And if you want to get there, it goes back to what you said, which is like taking away everything else and just focusing on what you really want to be good at to be successful at it. But there's a lot of people in the industry say, for example, talking about how there's always room for everybody, but then we only see so many actually going to the top of the ranks, for example, like your YouTube channel or Zach King's YouTube channel or whatever it might be. I guess if we want to focus on YouTube for a
Yeah.
minute, what are your thoughts on that? If there is room for everybody, then like how can you really get good at it? Or how can one really get good at it and differentiate themselves from the masses and get discovered and or founded by, you know, people who make big decisions like that?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, fortunately, I think nowadays you have much more of a chance of, I mean, there's very few gatekeepers nowadays. I mean, everyone's
Mm,
got a phone with, YouTube or TikTok on it.
yeah.
So, um, there's kind of nothing stopping people
Mm,
nowadays. If you're a musician, you want to have a song on Spotify, like
sure.
you can do that. It, it, it it's not hard to just submit something to Spotify. Anyone can do it, as opposed to 10, 20 years ago where you kind of like actually needed a record label. And then the number of people who make a living in music today is higher than the number of people who made a living in music 20 years ago, and it's not even close. I mean, it's like
Mm,
the number of people who make a living today in entertainment is way higher. Now, it might be the case that the that we're more spread out,
sure.
and you know, you go on Instagram or TikTok, and you might see videos from hundreds of people in just a
Mm,
day, whereas
sure.
20 years ago you would see a blockbuster film that hit the local theater near
Just
you,
one. Yeah.
or you would hear whatever record was released like that week.
Mm,
But and there were these huge superstars, and of course there's superstars nowadays too, but
sure.
the sort of the artist who was making a living but wasn't really a superstar, that
Mm,
wasn't as much of a thing 20 years ago. Not like it didn't exist, but nowadays, like, there's so many more opportunities, and there's so many more chances.
mm.
um so yeah, I mean, if you love it and you're willing to put in the effort and time, then yeah, I think go for
And the discoverability, just
it.
whatever you could say probably better than I could. Discoverability rates higher too, because you could have a
Totally.
channel for everything. I remember when we first launched this podcast, I was like, damn, do we just do a podcast or do we do an Instagram? Do we do a YouTube? Do we do a website just to kind of keep everything up and see which one sticks with people? And it's the same for you guys. It's like you have an Instagram, you know, you have now a TikTok. And these are
Totally.
great channels to have because they serve to different audiences. People on TikTok want the fun in 15 seconds. People on YouTube, I think what was it? Maybe how long was the We Are the World from 2018? Like what, 10 minutes, maybe 11?
Oh man, I don't think it was 10 minutes, but it's a lot longer than a
A
TikTok.
lot
So
longer than a
yeah.
TikTok. So that's what like it just serves to different audiences, which is really cool too. A couple more questions for you, buddy. What
You got it.
I was gonna ask you what your day to day looks like, but you mentioned how you just like you're hyper editing and you're kicking ass in your home all day long. But instead, I want to ask you what your perfect day would look like. Is it the 30-minute walk and a huge editing session and dinner with Patty, or what would you say your perfect day is?
Oh man. I would want to feel like I achieved something creatively, that I did something I created something that I was proud of.
Mm,
And then and it could be a simple thing as making a stupid little TikTok that I'm just really actually creatively proud of,
yeah.
or sitting here and trying to write or produce something that I'm really proud of. But that gives me a lot of pleasure. And
Mm.
then at the end of the day, I would want to probably make dinner with Patty or go out with Patty, and then
Oh,
enjoy the personal side of life too. So for me, I don't know, the perfect day would involve something that's really creatively fulfilling and
mm.
satisfying, and then also something that's just very personally satisfying. So yeah, it's two halves of life. They don't work well without the other. So
Yeah. You're so freaking cool, dude. Do you have any upcoming projects that that you can give us a tease as to like what videos might be coming out or where people can go and or maybe even on TikTok if everybody if you want to follow Kurt on TikTok, you can find all of his cool instrument or like what you're discovering with new instruments like laundry mats
Oh
or
yeah, I'm
machine.
always making something stupid. Like we just filmed 2 TikToks on the
Yep.
washer and dryer this morning. Um, Obviously, I'm always trying to do stuff with YouTube.
Yep.
And there's some stuff that's even off of social media. And I'm doing a
Yeah.
lot of I'm doing 3 live streams a month on Billy, which is kind of like a
Yep.
Chinese YouTube. And I post a lot of stuff on there too. So I just try to post as much fun stuff
I
as I can.
love
Hope
that.
someone out there likes it. So
We love it, Kurt. Is there anything aside from digital that you might get into in the future? I mean, maybe write a book or go on a tour of some kind. I can imagine like the reason I ask is I can see, how comedians will do things right now. We're on Zoom or they'll do things on TV, but then they have that comedy show in person. What do you
yeah,
think that in-person experience of like what you, Kurt Hugo Schneider does would be?
yeah. I've definitely thought about going on tour, and possible that something might happen later in the year. Don't I mean nothing's confirmed yet,
Yeah,
and probably won't be. But
sure.
I I would love to do that. So much of what I do, as I said, is just me by myself, me myself and I in this room and whatnot. So
Yeah.
um, I love doing that stuff too, but it's been a while since I feel like I've been out on the road and did
Sure.
did did anything in person. So
For
it's
yeah,
just a
for
different
all of
energy.
us. And I think it's to come in general. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like it is to come. And like we said, we're just gotta be patient and watch the light at the end of the tunnel. I got one last question for you, and we're gonna go play questions of the hour, buddy, where we're gonna have some real fun. I feel like we always have like I've mentioned this before. We'll do the deep talk here, right? What I like to call the conversation with depth here. And then we ask you 20 straight random questions that I think get to know you, allow us to get to know you a little bit better. But
sounds good.
my final question for you, buddy, is there anything you feel passionately about giving to people who are tuning into your content on any of those platforms, especially over the years, if you started to see such positive growth on the channel and such positive feedback from people like me who I could watch that We Are the World or the Jason Derulo, Kiki Palmer, and Max Schneider video all the time. But is there anything you, Kurt, feel passionately about giving to people when they're tuning in?
I mean, I want to give people the feeling that music is can come from anything. I mean, I feel like one thing that I I think hopefully sets my channel,
Hmm.
whether it's on YouTube or TikTok or whatever, like apart from other people, is I try to make music with all sorts of random objects that you just wouldn't think of make sound. So I just try to hopefully uh, if someone just takes away just a love of just the everyday things around our world that you just don't
Mhm.
appreciate. You know, there's so many things uh, that really are actually quite musical if you just sit around and listen to the beeps on your washing machine or whatever it might be, the buzz of your cell phone, the static on a speaker, and just you know I just hope that if there's one thing that I wish people take away, is to take away just a slightly different appreciation of what it means to be music. So yeah, I don't know. And if they don't take anything like that away, as long as they just kind of smile, or if whatever I did made their day a little bit better, then I'll take that too. So
You've said I'll take that this whole episode, and I'm obsessed with it, dude. Because listen, life's about giving, and you do a lot of that. You give people so much that you'll just take whatever comes your way, man. Because you're not here for what's to give or what's to be given to you. You've been producing so many great things, and Kurt, for coming on this show, for allowing us to coin you the man of the hour, telling us a little bit more about Noodle House Studios. That's so interesting. I thought it was gonna be the ramen noodles from the times when you had just got out of Yale. But for spending the last hour with me, buddy, I think we've covered a lot of stuff that I think will be be really beneficial for people. For anybody tuning in right now, this was Kurt Hugo Schneider. I mean, if you didn't know, his name is literally the episode of the show, so you might have tuned into the wrong thing, but I'm glad you're here right now, and I'm glad you chose to listen to this show. Kurt, buddy, thank you again. I'm stoked to meet you in person when the time makes sense for it, but in the meantime, everybody please follow Kurt Hugo Schneider. He's at Kurt Schneider. Last name is Schneider on social media and YouTube, where all those amazing videos we talked about are housed. And thanks again for giving us the last hour of your time. And now it's time for us to head to our YouTube channel, but be sure to go to Kurt's, and we're going to play a game of questions of the hour, buddy. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Thanks so much, man.
Perfect. All right. You are tuning into Questions of the Hour right now with Kurt Hugo Schneider right here on YouTube. We got 20 questions for him. And Kurt, buddy, they're random. So I want to thank you for being here because I don't even know what the questions are.
All right.
Are you ready?
Right. Well, if you don't, I certainly don't. Let's go for it.
They say it takes 10,000 hours to become an expert.
Mhm.
If you could instantly complete 10,000 hours of one skill, what would it be?
Gymnastics.
Stop. I was a gymnast. I'll teach you how to do
I don't
backflips.
know. I just think doing like backflips is like
Yeah.
really cool. And I know that I would like break a bone if I attempted to do that. So if I could just snap my fingers and have it, yeah, I'll take that.
I love that. Where do you want to retire and live out your golden years?
Oh man, there's so many incredible places, but of all the places I've traveled, Southeast Asia has had a really special place in my heart. It would be a tough call between like Indonesia, Taipei, maybe Singapore.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Oh man, there's way too many to choose from, but I'll have those three for now.
Sounds like your golden years are going to be in different places, but dude, that's totally fine. If someone gives you $100 and tells you to treat yourself, what would you do?
Cool. Buy a lot of boba, maybe.
Ooh,
Yeah.
you like boba tea and noodles.
Oh,
You're going to do so fine in those Asian countries you just mentioned to spend your golden years. I think we got something here. Next one for you. Let's celebrate you. What are 3 big wins you had this week?
Oh, this week, man. Dear Lord, I don't think I've had any big wins. I woke up on time. How's that? Big wins I've had this week. Ooh, that's a tough one. You know, I filmed a few TikToks. I'll take that as a win. I got the skeleton of a song that I'm pretty excited about, so I'll take that as a win. And
you better go hit Command S on that thing. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, trust me, it's like that's a reflex now at this point. Yeah, was that 3? I'm not even sure. I'll go with.
We're gonna say 3. We're gonna say that the Command S is the 3rd one. What is the one other language you wish you could speak? I'm curious on this one too.
Oh, snap. Okay, so as a lot of people know, I love learning languages. So I feel pretty confident of speaking in several, but one that I don't speak at all, and I wish I could, is maybe Japanese.
Stop. I'm half Japanese and a gymnast, dude. I'm gonna teach you Japanese and teach you how to do a backflip. Whoa, that's why you really came to the show. Tell us about a beauty or style trend that you're embarrassed to admit you took part in.
Ooh, I don't know if I've ever in my entire life taken part of a style trend. I'm like probably the least stylish person in the world. You know what? Okay, so I'm gonna have to consult Patty on that one. She'd probably have a better answer. You know what? I'm gonna go with the vest. The vest I think was a solid decision, because I would always just wear like random t-shirts and just whatever kind of I rolled out of bed in. And I realized if I just threw a vest on, then all of a sudden I could call it style. So I'm gonna go with
suits you well
with the decision to wear the vest.
I love that. What was your favorite candy from childhood, and would you still eat it today?
Cool. Oh man, so many. Sour Patch Kids, Skittles. Yeah, I'd probably go with one of those. There could honestly be a lot of others that I could pick from.
I like those though. Those ones are good.
And would I still eat them today? Yes, totally.
Finish the sentence for us. I know I finally made it when.
I know I finally made it when someone finally decided to write a hate comment on a video. If someone cares enough to about you to write a hate comment, that means that you must have had an effect on someone. I feel like people talk about hate comments on YouTube a lot. I feel like I don't get many, and I'm very fortunate for that. But yeah, I don't know. I do remember when there was like one comment, like oddly early on, of someone who was just like oddly wrote on like a lot of videos.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know, it was really confusing to me, but I was like, well, if they care that much, then I don't know, maybe I made it. Maybe that's the sign.
I totally get that. Well, you better not be putting hate comments here. I hope you're enjoying this one. To Kurt's point. All right, fill in the blank here. I spent X amount of hours a day on social media, or spend
Ooh,
X amount of hours.
actually not many. I spend less than an hour a day on social media.
Dude, that's
Yeah.
impressive.
Yeah. I mean, I watch a good number of YouTube videos. So maybe if you count YouTube videos, I'm sure it's over
But like
an hour a day.
scrolling on Instagram, no?
Yeah, no, I don't really scroll on Instagram. I don't really scroll through TikTok.
Good for you.
I really only look at TikTok to just try to see, what other people are
What's
making
going
and
on?
what people like. But
Wow.
yeah, actually once I kind of cut out a lot of social media time, I actually felt like it was just a overall positive thing. So
100%.
yeah,
I
not
love
much
that.
answer.
What's one social cause that you're passionate about?
Oh man, I love animals.
Mm.
I love, I mean, anything related to like kids and education,
Mm.
yeah, it's just, uh, um, I guess, in some ways they're actually kind of related to each other because
Mm.
animals and kids, they don't really have the ability or power
Yeah.
to, control their own destiny. So, let's give them a helping hand along the way.
I love that. That's where that cow came from behind you. I love it, dude. You're passionate about you're
Oh yeah,
passionate about animals.
that's from Chinese New Year. You're the
I,
opposite
I
here.
love it. You're the ox. What is
Yeah.
your favorite city in the world? Describe
Ooh.
it so well that we all want to move there.
Ooh. Oh man. Again, so many choices. Um, I love Taipei. I lived there for a month.
Oh, nice.
Um, it has great energy to it, and I love New York as well. New York's an amazing city. Haven't been back in several years. I
You
really like
sold me on
Singapore.
Taipei.
What's that?
You sold me on Taipei.
Now we'll go together sometime.
I love it, dude. You paying for the ticket? I'll pay for the ticket. You just provide the noodles.
Either way, either way.
Kurt, I love it. What do you love most about yourself?
Oh man. Uh, I don't know. There's a lot of things that I would love to work on, but what I like most, I mean, I feel awkward giving myself a pat on the back or anything,
Yeah,
but
that's
I
why the
feel like
question's there.
like like one thing that I like is I feel like I've never been afraid to give something a decent shot. To just like really actually put a serious effort into doing something. If you
100%.
want to try something, like go ahead and don't be afraid to really try. So I don't know. There's tons of things I'm really not good at, but I guess
That's a great
yeah,
one.
that one.
This is
Yeah.
why we love you, Kurt. What are 3 crucial routines that you keep, like non-negotiable crucial routines?
Um, let's see. I well Nowadays I don't work after dinner so much.
Mm.
And in some ways I think it might have made me more productive.
Oh yeah.
I used to be much more of a night owl and working late nights earlier. I don't do that as much now. And in some
It's
ways,
healthy.
yeah, I think like compartmentalizing, has actually been helpful. So that would be one. What's another routine of mine? I used to read every night before going to bed, and
Mm.
recently I haven't been doing that. I did that for a couple years, and
Yeah.
that's a routine I really should get back into because I actually find I sleep better when I do it. And two, I I would use it as also just supplementary, like just the language learning time, because
Sure.
typically when I would read, I would try to always read in a foreign language. so that I would also just be, practicing my languages. Yeah, it just made me sleep better. I wish I should keep that routine. Third one. What's a third routine of mine? I don't know. I start every day with a cup of tea.
What kind of tea? Green?
Usually it's a black tea.
Oh,
And
nice.
yep. Sometimes it's matcha, but usually it's a black tea.
Dude, so no coffee.
Yeah, no coffee. I don't do coffee. I never got into the taste.
Wow, I only got into that taste. I thought we were so similar. He's over here talking about speaking Japanese and we'll go to Taipei together. I'm like, wait, I can't do without coffee, man. So if we're not drinking coffee on that flight over there, I don't know if I can go. I got one last question for you, buddy, on questions of the hour. What
Cool.
do you keep on hand in the fridge without a doubt?
Oh, okay. Well, on top of the fridge is always boxes of cereal. Not in the fridge, but I always got boxes of cereal on top of the fridge. In the fridge, there's a ton of things. I almost always have a bag of carrots. So, like in the middle of the day, like I might just want to like snack on something, but like
might as well make it healthy.
If I just have like a ton of candy around or crackers or chips or something, like I might snack on that. And it's just, I always like having a bag of carrots around, because then if I want to snack, I'll snack on that. It kind of fills you up. It's healthy, and just kind of works out well for me.
Oh, cool, man. Because it has nothing to do with those childhood snacks of the Skittles and Sour Patch Kids.
Hey,
moved on to carrots.
But if those are around, if those are in the same room as me, then
game over.
Then, yeah.
Oh man,
you know what I'm doing.
That's not the only game that's over, buddy. This one's over. Thanks for playing Questions of the Hour. Kurt Hugo Schneider. His episode just dropped on our podcast at Men of the Hour Podcast. Thanks for being here, buddy. It was good to see you.
Thanks so much, man. Appreciate it.